Marcus stood at the edge of the pool, his heart hammering against his ribs as the crowd roared. His 8-year-old daughter Emma's future hung in the balance of the next 2 minutes. He glanced at his smirking boss standing in the lane beside him, and thought about the impossible choice ahead. Sometimes, the greatest battles aren't fought against others, but against the demons within ourselves. If you've ever faced an impossible choice for someone you love, hit that like button. And subscribe to follow more stories of ordinary people finding extraordinary courage when it matters most. 6 months earlier, Marcus Sullivan sat in his cubicle, staring at his daughter's school photo. Emma's smile was missing a front tooth, her curly hair rebelliously escaping her carefully arranged pigtails. That smile was everything to him, especially since Diane's death 3 years ago had left them to navigate life as a team of 2. Sullivan. My office, now. Marcus flinched at Richard Hargrove's booming voice. As CEO of Pinnacle Investments, Hargrove had a reputation for being brilliant but merciless. Marcus quickly tucked Emma's photo away and hurried to the corner office with its panoramic view of the city. Close the door, Hargrove said without looking up from his computer. Marcus complied, his palms sweating. At 34, he was a mid-level financial analyst with modest ambitions, mainly to provide stability for Emma. In the 3 years since becoming a single parent, he'd mastered the art of being invisible at work. He came in early, left exactly at 5, and never volunteered for projects requiring late hours or travel. You've been here, 7 years now? Hargrove finally looked up, his steel-gray eyes assessing. Almost 8, sir. 8 years and still in the same position you started in. Hargrove leaned back. Why is that, Sullivan? Marcus shifted uncomfortably. I've had some personal challenges. My wife passed away, and I'm raising my daughter alone. Yes, I'm aware. My condolences. Hargrove's tone suggested the topic was closed. I've been reviewing your work. Your analysis on the Westberg acquisition was exceptional. Thank you, sir. Which is why I'm offering you the Kellerman account. Marcus froze. The Kellerman account was the company's biggest fish, a pharmaceutical giant with billions in assets. It also required extensive travel and round-the-clock availability. Sir, I'm honored, but it comes with a substantial promotion. Vice President of Client Relations. Double your current salary, plus bonuses. The figure Hargrove named made Marcus's head swim. It would mean Emma could attend Meadowbrook Academy, the private school with the special program for gifted children like her. It would mean no more nights calculating if they could afford both new winter clothes and piano lessons. I appreciate the offer, sir, but the travel requirements are non-negotiable, Hargrove finished. This is business, Sullivan. I need someone who can dedicate themselves fully to our most important client. Marcus hesitated. I need to think about it. Fine. You have until the company picnic next weekend. Hargrove turned back to his computer. That will be all. That evening, Marcus watched Emma practice piano, her small fingers dancing across the keys. The school assessment had identified her as exceptionally gifted in music, but the public schools program had been cut due to budget constraints. Meadowbrook Academy had a renowned music program, with instructors from the symphony. It would cost more than he could possibly afford on his current salary. Daddy, did I get it right? Emma looked up, hope shining in her eyes, Diane's eyes. It was beautiful, sweetheart. He sat beside her on the bench. How would you feel about changing schools? Emma's face fell. But all my friends are at Lincoln Elementary. There's this special school called Meadowbrook. They have amazing music teachers and a beautiful campus. Is it because Mrs. Henderson said I'm too advanced for regular music class? Emma asked, suddenly serious in that way that sometimes made Marcus forget she was only 8. Partly. You have an incredible gift, Em. I want you to have every opportunity. But how would you pick me up? It's on the other side of town, and you always say you can't be late for work. Marcus felt a stab of guilt. Emma had grown accustomed to structuring her life around his limitations. Well, that's the other thing. I might be getting a new position at work. With more money? She asked, perceptive as always. Yes, but I'd have to travel sometimes. Who would stay with me? We could ask Aunt Sarah, or maybe hire someone to help out when I'm gone. Emma was quiet for a long moment, her fingers tracing the pattern of the wood grain on the piano. Mom always said we have to be brave to get the things that matter. Marcus hugged her tightly, his throat tight. She was right about that. Later, after Emma was asleep, Marcus pulled out the information packet from Meadowbrook and the details of the promotion. The numbers didn't lie, this was their chance. But the cost seemed equally clear, less time with Emma when she needed him most. The annual company picnic was held at Lake Evergreen, a sprawling park with sports fields, a large pavilion, and an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Marcus had brought Emma, who was currently playing with other children in the supervised activity area. Sullivan. Hargrove called from near the pool, where he was holding court with several executives. Join us. Marcus reluctantly approached the group. Richard Hargrove stood in swim trunks that revealed a surprisingly athletic build for a man in his 50s. Have you made your decision about the Kellerman account? Hargrove asked without preamble. I'm still considering the implications for my daughter, Marcus replied carefully. Hargrove's eyes narrowed. Business waits for no man, Sullivan. I need people who can commit. I understand, sir. It's just that. Dad. Dad. Emma ran up, breathless with excitement. I won the scavenger hunt. That's amazing, Em. Marcus beamed, kneeling to her level. Hargrove studied Emma with unexpected interest. You must be Emma. Congratulations on your win. Emma looked up at the imposing man. Thank you, sir. I hear you're quite the pianist, Hargrove continued. Emma nodded. I practice every day. Discipline. I like that. Hargrove's gaze shifted back to Marcus. You know, Sullivan, I was a competitive swimmer in college. Still do laps every morning at 5. That's impressive, sir. Were you ever an athlete? Marcus shook his head. Not really. Just recreational swimming. A calculating look crossed Hargrove's face. Let me propose something. A race. You and me. 500 meters. Sir, I don't think. If you win, I'll modify the Kellerman contract. You can do half the travel, work remotely when possible, and I'll throw in a 10% signing bonus. Marcus stared, stunned by the offer. And if you win? You take the job as originally offered, travel and all, or you stay exactly where you are with no advancement prospects. Hargrove's smile was predatory. What do you say, Sullivan? Willing to take a risk for your daughter's future? Emma tugged at Marcus's hand. What's happening, Dad? Nothing, sweetie. Mr. Hargrove and I are discussing work. Hargrove crouched down to Emma's level. Your dad has a chance at a big opportunity, young lady. But he needs to prove how badly he wants it. Marcus felt a flare of anger at Hargrove's manipulation. This isn't the place. It's exactly the place, Hargrove cut him off. Life is about seizing moments, Sullivan. Show your daughter that. Emma looked between them, her expression serious. Dad is a really good swimmer. He taught me how. Hargrove raised an eyebrow. Is that so? The truth was Marcus hadn't swum properly in years. He'd been on his high school team, but that was ages ago. And Hargrove was clearly in excellent shape. What do you say, Sullivan? Or are you afraid to lose in front of your daughter? That did it. Fine. You have a deal. Hargrove's smile widened. Excellent. But I want to add one more stipulation. What's that? Hargrove lowered his voice. When you lose, and you will lose, you'll have to do the one thing I know you've refused to do since your wife died. Which is? Start living again. Date. Socialize. Stop hiding behind your daughter as an excuse to avoid life. Marcus stiffened. That's completely inappropriate. Is it? Or is it the truth you've been avoiding? Hargrove glanced meaningfully at Emma. Children need parents who are fully alive, Sullivan, not martyrs. Marcus felt as if he'd been slapped. Was that how others saw him? As using Emma as an excuse? That's crossing a line, Marcus said quietly. Perhaps. But it's the condition. Take it or leave it. Marcus looked at Emma, who was watching them with curious eyes. He thought of Meadowbrook Academy, of giving her the opportunities she deserved. Fine, he said tightly. But you keep this conversation between us. Hargrove nodded. The race is scheduled for the end of summer charity event. 6 weeks from now. That gives you time to prepare. He turned to walk away, then paused. Oh, and Sullivan? Don't disappoint your daughter. The next morning, Marcus stood at the edge of the community pool at 5:30 a.m., wondering if he'd lost his mind. The water gleamed in the early light, both inviting and intimidating. Dad, are you scared? Emma sat on a bench nearby, swinging her legs. A little, he admitted. Mom always said it's okay to be scared as long as you do the thing anyway. Marcus smiled. She was smart like that. Are we really going to move if you win the race? Not move, honey. But you'd go to a different school, and I'd have a better job. And if you lose? Marcus hesitated. Then things stay the same. Emma considered this. I like things the way they are. You do? She nodded. But I also think you should win because Mr. Hargrove seems mean. Marcus laughed. He's not mean, exactly. Just competitive. Like Mom was. Yeah. The comparison surprised him, but there was truth to it. Diane had been fiercely competitive, always pushing herself and others to excel. She would tell you to kick his butt, Emma said solemnly. Marcus nearly choked. Emma Sullivan. Where did you hear that phrase? Aunt Sarah says it all the time. She grinned mischievously. Are you going to get in the water or just stare at it all day? Taking a deep breath, Marcus dove in. The shock of cold water brought back muscle memories from long ago. He began to swim laps, his body protesting after years of neglect. After just 10 laps, he was gasping for air. This was going to be harder than he thought. Days turned into weeks as Marcus established a new routine. Swimming every morning, working all day, then evenings with Emma. He hired a college student named Jesse to bring Emma to the pool during his morning practices and help with homework in the evenings while he squeezed in evening swims. Gradually, he felt his body responding, growing stronger. His times improved, though he had no idea how they compared to Hargrove's. You're becoming a fish, Dad, Emma said one Saturday as they swam together. I hope so, kiddo. Mr. Hargrove is pretty fast. Why is this race so important to him? Marcus had wondered the same thing. I'm not sure. Maybe he just likes winning. Or maybe he's lonely, Emma suggested. Grandma says people who are mean are usually just sad inside. Marcus considered this. Richard Hargrove was divorced, no children, lived for his work. Maybe there was something to Emma's insight. As the charity event approached, Marcus's colleagues began placing bets on the race. It had somehow become the highlight of the summer fundraiser, with donations tied to the outcome. Marcus tried to ignore the pressure, but it was becoming impossible. 3 days before the event, he was summoned to Hargrove's office again. How's the training going, Sullivan? Hargrove asked, looking annoyingly fit and confident. Fine, sir. Good. I want a real race. Hargrove studied him. You know, you've changed these past weeks. There's more, presents to you. Swimming will do that. It's not just the swimming. Hargrove leaned forward. You're fighting for something. It looks good on you. Marcus didn't know how to respond to the unexpected compliment. I've been watching you, Sullivan. You have potential you've never tapped. That's why I pushed this. By humiliating me in front of my colleagues? By challenging you? Hargrove shrugged. Sometimes people need a push. Or a shove off a cliff, Marcus muttered. Hargrove actually laughed. Perhaps. But tell me this, when was the last time you felt this alive? The question hit Marcus like a physical blow. He couldn't remember. Not since Diane died, certainly. That's what I thought, Hargrove said softly. See you at the race, Sullivan. The day of the charity event dawned bright and clear. The company had gone all out, with food tents, games, and activities centered around the lake. The swimming race had been promoted as the main event, with donation pledges tied to the outcome. Marcus stood by the lake's edge, trying to calm his nerves as Emma held his hand. You're going to win, Dad, she said with absolute conviction. I hope so, Em. Even if you don't, I'm proud of you. Marcus knelt down and hugged her tightly. When did you get so wise? Mom always said I was an old soul. She looked past him and frowned. Mr. Hargrove looks really serious. Marcus turned to see his boss approaching, dressed in professional swimming gear that made Marcus's simple trunks look amateur by comparison. Sullivan. Hargrove nodded. Ready to lose gracefully? Don't count on it, sir. Hargrove smiled thinly, then surprised Marcus by addressing Emma directly. Your father is a brave man, taking on this challenge. Emma regarded him solemnly. He's the bravest person I know. Something flickered in Hargrove's eyes, respect, perhaps, or envy. Well, we'll see if that's enough. The announcer called for the swimmers to take their positions. Marcus hugged Emma one last time, then joined Hargrove at the starting line. The course was marked by buoys, 250 meters out and 250 back. Sullivan, Hargrove said quietly as they waited for the starting signal. Remember our full agreement. Marcus tensed. The forbidden part of their bet, that he would start dating again if he lost, still felt like an intrusion. But he nodded curtly. On your marks, the announcer called. Get set. Go. They dove into the water simultaneously. Marcus felt the rush of adrenaline as he began to swim, his strokes powerful and rhythmic from weeks of training. He was surprised to find himself keeping pace with Hargrove, who clearly had excellent technique. The first 100 meters passed in a blur of effort. By the halfway mark, they were neck and neck, both pushing hard. Marcus could hear the crowd cheering from shore, but focused only on his breathing and form. As they rounded the far